Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Madden 2002 in our Dallas Cowboys franchise. We are coming back, first episode back here, after losing to the Seahawks in the divisional round. Unfortunately, tough loss here, just could not get over that hump that is the Seattle Seahawks, apparently. In your conference championship game, the Colts managed to hang off against the Ravens, and then the Redskins make it to the Super Bowl, and an absolute shootout. That's got to be a points record in the Super Bowl as the Colts and the Redskins go back and forth. So the Redskins don't even win the division. We get in over them, but they managed to make it to the Super Bowl, man. So just make it make sense. It's difficult. So looking over at our stats for the year, here's Chuck Dunn's rookie season in its entirety. I like the touchdown and INT numbers here. I like him. I would have liked him to throw for more yards and a better completion percentage. Hopefully that improves. Bruce Perry rushes for over 800 yards, which is pretty nice. Obviously, we want to see the 1,000-yard thing, but we probably will see that in a couple seasons, so I'm not worried. Joey Galloway has a pretty big regression from where he was last year. Despite how bad we were last year, he had himself a pretty great season, but this year not the same in terms of yardage, but 14 touchdowns. We will absolutely take 14 touchdowns. And Raghib Ismail actually has himself his best year in a very long time. So a lot of time split between the both of them. Chad Gonzalez, our second-year pro, has himself a decent year as well. Michael Wiley gets himself fourth on the depth chart here in terms of receiving. Mo Collins has himself a worse year than last year, but still not the worst, I guess. Like, it's okay, we'll take it. Larry Allen has himself another Pro Bowl year, man, putting up essentially the same stats here, giving up only 2 more sacks. Eric Williams has himself a worse season than he did last year. Not great on that front. And then Jamie Evans, our second-year pro at center, has himself the same exact year, so we like seeing that. Flozell Adams also has himself a better year, so the line was pretty good across the board here, back and forth. Jared O'Neal, our second-year pro, our top prospect from the first year, leads the team in tackles in year number 2, and even improves on his INT numbers, so he has himself a good year. Marcus Johnson gets a Pro Bowl nod, our second-year pro, on defensive tackle, leads the team in TFLs, and then he also leads the team in sacks by a wide margin. So great year for Marcus Johnson. Our defensive prospects really stepping up to the plate here, and we're building a good defense. And then Ted Stuckley in his rookie year, not the best kicking year, but it's better than I think what we were getting from these rental like kickers that we were just signing. So I guess I'm glad that we have a good kicker, and he'll probably only get better, so I'm not super worried about it. So I guess we'll look at the awards before we get right on out of here. Jamal Lewis wins NFL MVP, and then Dante Culpepper's obviously going to win MVP in the NFC. Offensive Player of the Year is going to go to Jamal Lewis as well in the NFL. But then, of course, Dante Culpepper's going to win it in the NFC as well. And the Vikings weren't even that good this year. I think they did go to the playoffs because the NFC North was really bad, but still. And then the unnamed 57, whoever could it be, wins Defensive Player of the Year in the NFC. And then Delta O'Neal, cornerback for the Broncos, wins it for the AFC. Chuck Dunn winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. Can you believe that? Chuck Dunn is our Rookie of the Year, man. That's awesome. Offensive Rookie of the Year in the NFL, and then Reginald Beck, the rookie quarterback for the Raiders, wins it in the AFC. So that's pretty awesome, man. We get Offensive Rookie of the Year. Let's go, Chuck Dunn. Brian Garcia gets Defensive Rookie of the Year for the Lions in a bad year for the Lions. And then Kenny Harris gets Defensive Rookie of the Year in the NFL, but gets it for the AFC, of course, for the Colts as well. So... And then the coach for the Colts, Mora, wins Coach of the Year, and Will Newton's third. Will Newton gets himself third in Coach of the Year. That's pretty cool too, man. I'm shocked that that's what we got, man. Third in the year in Coach of the Year. That's awesome. That's really cool. So we got some nods here from the Madden Awards. We get acknowledged just a tiny bit, not a whole lot, but just a little bit. You know, we're getting the looks. So we're now going to advance into our offseason and get through our retired players. Hopefully, we don't have anything more catastrophic than Emmitt Smith leaving us. That was a big one that we were able to at least patch the hole a little bit here. There are some bigger names in here. Ed McCaffrey's finally out here. Jeff George for the Skins, he's finally gone as well. And Sam Gash is also gone as well. But now we need to check. We need to check over our own personal retirements if we have any. And there's only going to be one, and it's Mark Stepniski. He's our backup center. He's going to be out of this one, and I mean, we weren't going to do anything with Stepniski, so we don't lose anything major. Sorry to Mark Stepniski, not saying you're nothing, but you were not going to help our team's efforts moving forward. So heading into the re-signing phase, we're going to give Larry Allen a pretty massive contract to stick around. He's obviously the biggest piece of our offensive line, so we want him to stay a Cowboy as long as possible. We're also going to re-sign Greg Ellis, one of our big defensive ends. We don't have a replacement on the right side, so we're going to bring him in for another few years, make sure we lock up that position moving forward, but he's going to want to negotiate with us here because he's not because he doesn't want the short-term deal here. He wants to be here for a while. He wants to be a Cowboy for a long, long time. And so he's going to take that 4-year deal. And then we're going to sign Dat Nguyen. Dat Nguyen doesn't want to be around. He doesn't want to be a Cowboy long-term. He only wants to be here for a couple years. So we're going to give Dat Nguyen that deal for a couple years. And then Jamie Evans, one of our rookies, of course, we are going to re-sign him because he's had 2 pretty good seasons at center for us, so he's going to lock down the center position. Everyone else we're going to leave, man. We're going to lose. So Chidi Hanantu, we're going to have to replace. He's going to be the big one we got to replace because he's just regressed over the last 2 years of his career. Probably shouldn't have kept him on. I made the trade for him. Or a trade to keep him and got rid of the other end, but we probably should have got rid of him because of his regression. So we'll only get 2 free agents, major ones. Desmond Clark is going to be our new starting tight end for 1.9 at 85 overall. I am very, very happy with this acquisition. He's still pretty young too, so I think this is a huge, huge get for us on offense. And then Keith McKenzie is going to lock down the left end position since we lost Chidi Hanatu, and this is just kind of like a stopgap filler until we can really get a permanent solution at left end. So we're going to bring on Keith McKenzie for a couple years and have that. So here is our draft results. Remember, we had a lot of draft picks from the trading that we did to start the year to kind of compensate ourselves for the Chad Pennington deal. But here is our class. Nothing really big jumping off of the page, obviously. All the overalls are around the high 60 to low 70 range. It's just kind of where we were picking. Some of the picks we had were pretty decent, but we were able to fill the need that we really had. So we needed help at DB. We needed another receiver. We needed a new fullback. We needed some help on the end and on the line. Some depth pieces because we let a lot of our depth guys go, so we just really needed to fill that through the draft, and I was able to do that, and I only needed to sign probably the first 6 or 7 guys we picked through the trade. So either way, moving ahead, Chuck Dunn is our starting quarterback. Of course, we did upgrade at running back, so Roland Rich is going to be our new starting running back over Bruce Perry. Bruce Perry's not going to return as a starter in his second season, so Jason Lawton is going to be our new starting fullback. Of course, Joey Galloway and Raghib Ismail are 1 and 2 in the depth chart. Our new rookie receiver Thompson is going to be 3rd in the depth chart, moving Gonzalez and Tyson down to 4th and 5th. Desmond Clark is our starting tight end, of course, with Kelly backing him up. Flozell Adams still holding down left tackle. Larry Allen at left guard. Jamie Evans is going to return as our starter at center. Mo Collins on guard. And Eric Williams at right tackle. Keith McKenzie, our new left end. Greg Ellis on the right. Blaine Green and Marcus Johnson. 2 rookie guys that we both acquired. So Marcus Johnson we have to keep in as our number 1 defensive tackle, of course. Hambrick and Nguyen and Coakley are going to be our linebackers. Frank Westbrook still our top DB with Jared O'Neal getting over 80. And then Woodson and Wooden are going to be our safeties as well, as we already know. And then the kicking situation, as you guys are also very familiar with. So that is how the roster is going to look moving forward as we get into our very next season. So a lot of familiar faces, nothing too different. But looking into the season, we start with the Seahawks again for the 2nd straight year. And then it looks like we'll be playing the Northern Divisions again in both conferences. So we have the Bears and the Bengals and the Lions and the Vikings and such as our conference games here, interspersed throughout, and then we're going to end the year with a pretty tough road schedule in Green Bay, in New York, in Philly, and in Washington. So that's a very, very tough road stint to try and survive through to end our season. So if we don't get the wins that we need at the front half of the schedule, it's probably going to be tough to make the playoffs on the back half. So that should be the expectation, is to get back into the playoffs, and that's what I'm hoping for. So hopefully we can do that, because if not, man, job security might be in jeopardy if we can't get back into the playoffs. So we're going to start off with the divisional round rematch against the Seahawks. This time we're finally at home because we can't win in Seattle. So hopefully I see you guys back in Irving, Texas at Texas Stadium when we try and finally beat the Seattle Seahawks on the 3rd try.